All right. Well, thank you. That was great to hear the update with all of the incredible work that the Water Quality District and the Gallatin Watershed Council have done to collect data over the years. So I'll talk just a little bit about the Data Hub, specifically for the Gallatin. And I want to introduce that with just this overview work that a current online master's student that I have is working on to assess volunteer collected data in Montana. How much data is there and how well poised are groups to answer their questions is something she's trying to get at. And you can see this increase in the number of volunteer monitoring groups over time. And if we look at this figure she's created about which groups have the longest duration, the sun's down there at the bottom, but the Gallatin is one of the longer running volunteer monitoring groups in the state. And we're actually missing a little bit of data here at the beginning that we're working on filling in the gaps. This is data we pulled out of the National Water Quality Portal, and you can see this transition from when the data was being uploaded by the Gallatin Watershed Council to the district taking the lead on it. So these two are essentially the same monitoring project. So yeah, the Gallatin are some long-standing volunteer monitoring program participants in Montana. And in order to support volunteer monitoring programs across the state, I've been doing this work since around 2008. And one of the big needs that had been coming up was where does our data go? How do we interact with it? And so I created, with a web developer, the MSU Extension Water Quality Data Hub. Just quick to start, what the intention of the Data Hub is to provide a way for the public to interact with the data. It is not intended as a long-term data storage repository. That is to perfectly complement the National Water Quality Portal or WQX or EQUIS. All three of those things are different names for the same thing. The National Water Quality Portal is not good at providing an interface for data. You can download spreadsheets that are extremely complex with like 85 columns and a whole bunch of metadata. It's really robust, but it's not good for interacting. And so the Data Hub is explicitly meant to complement and provide the kind of the what's missing from the National Water Quality Portal. So what I'm going to do here is just walk you through a little bit of how to use it. So if you just type into a web search MSU extension water, you'll land on my homepage, and the Data Hub is linked right here on the main page. So you can click on this. There's some additional information at the bottom on how to use it. There is a map I'll click on right quick, and it just brings up this interactive site for all of the monitoring locations that we have stored in here. I can zoom in on the Gallatin and you can start to see where we have data collected. And you can click on these sites and get to data through this interface if you like. I'll come back over here and I'm going to just quickly show you the photo storage database. When it comes up, it's going to show you nothing because you haven't clicked on the sites that you want to use. One of my favorite places to show for the photos is Careless Creek up in the Mussel Shell. And if I click on it, it brings up the most recent photos uploaded by Leon. If I click load the entire range, you see all of these lines indicating photos back to 2015. So this is Careless Creek. These are repeat photos. I can click through them and see how this stream is changing over time. I could click the play button and adjust how many seconds I want it to be on each picture. One of the reasons I think this is really cool, let's see, in 2015, there was a high water event captured. Sorry, I'm in 2017. Oh, sorry. Back in 2015, there was this kind of curve to the stream that was kind of cool. Um, and then moving into 2018, we captured some high water photos. You can see so that stream is moving around down there underneath the water. And then the water recedes and that point bar shows back up. Over here in 22, we get to the end of 2022, kind of a cool thing happens. This beaver dam shows up. And then when we get into the next year, it starts to blow out, and then high water comes up and it's disappeared. And then later in 2025, we actually saw this point bar get more vegetated than we had seen it before. So just this repeat photograph on that. So Leon is going out and collecting salinity data and then uploads these photos. And it's just, I really like that site. It's one of the, Leon's been a really dedicated volunteer. I'll flip over right quick to the Gallatin and just show you specifically East Roski. Um, on Mandeville Creek, again, I'll click the entire range. So these are some just staff gauge photos. I can click off general site photos and just go to exact repeats. But if I flash back through time, for a little while, we instrumented this culvert. So we had some pictures of us doing that. And then there were just some site photos. These are repeat photos going back through time. This dorm was built during this period. And so there, if we flash back here, there's the sod going in, and you can see that. Then people being goofy here in the photos. You can't really see Mandeville Creek here, so I annotated this slide so that you could see where the stream is, the vegetated buffer, and exposed soil. So there is an opportunity to annotate photos. This photo is specifically to show how you can repeat. So um, I thought I had a photo in here of where you're actually standing when you take this photo, but you frame the photograph so that the left edge is right here on a wall of the building. The top edge was around the top of that tree. And so it shows you how to actually repeat this photo. And then kind of going back over time, I had forgotten this was in here. This was a really high flow event back in 2008 from a class project. And this is actually Jess Alstrom, who works for the city now, getting very wet doing a sampling effort. So the photograph storage is one component of this, but I'm focused in here today on the data hub. So I'm clicking here, opening that up. Again, it starts out blank because I haven't selected any data yet. So I can come down here and I'm going to click all of the Gallatin data sites on. So this is sites that I'm clicking on. These are streams, and then within each stream, there's different sites. So I can granularly turn those on. And it defaults to one data view. I'm going to click show me the entire range of data, and that'll take a second to load. And then I can come up here, and what I'm going to click on first is I'm going to go to, let's say I want to understand how nitrate is looking. Actually, let's stick with Cameron's example of total nitrogen. He showed some figures for, and I think box plots are a good way to kind of see summary across space. So these are all of the sites that we have data for that Cameron was just talking about. We pulled that data out of the National Water Quality Portal. Sites are organized on here from upstream to downstream by stream. So I'm going to click off the sites that have relatively low nitrogen, and we'll zoom in. Maybe we're interested in where there's high nitrogen. So I'm going to click off the West Gallatin site because it's relatively low. If I look up here, Baker is pretty low, so I'm going to shut that one off. I'm just simplifying my view here, basically. Highlight is, actually, that's interesting. I was looking at nitrate before. Nitrogen's just a little higher, but I can shut them off and really start to hone in on what I'm interested in. And I'm going to go ahead and actually shut off everything except the East Gallatin River to just really simplify the view here. So now I'm just looking at the East Gallatin River from upstream to downstream. And I can hover and get some information about the points. I can change if I'm like, okay, I want to look at nitrate concentrations. I can click on these eyes and get more information about that interactive y-axis. I can click over here and understand where that 0.1 threshold came from, above which we might expect nuisance algae growth for nitrate. And I can, so if I'm like looking, okay, wow, the East Gallatin nitrate concentrations really increased downstream, I know that Thompson Creek's a tributary and that Mandeville's a tributary. Well, I want to look at those. So yeah, I can see that Thompson Creek and Mandeville both have pretty high nitrate that are certainly contributing to this higher concentration downstream. So all of this is completely interactive. I can go explore all of this data that Cameron just showed us, that at least that which has gotten into the National Water Quality Portal, and then that we have subsequently pulled down on an annual basis to get into the data hub. So let's say that I want to burrow in on one site and look at more detailed information. There's a variety of types of plots up here. So let's go to, I'm going to specifically shut off everything and go to East Gallatin above Spring Hill Road. So I started out just with the box plot I already had up. Now let's go look at time series. So this is what that nitrate concentration looks like over time at that site. And again, I can change what axis I want to look at. I'm going to add a double time series, which gives me a second y-axis now. And then actually just today, I went in and added this USGS flow data for this site to it was good to be prompted to get in here. I found a couple bugs and worked with my web developer yesterday to address those, and then downloaded some more data into the data hub today. So I can now look at what that nitrate looks like relative to flow because we can grab that USGS flow data and stick it in here too. I can hover up here if I want to zoom in on a part of the plot and just look at part of it. There's a bunch of different controls up here. And so it kind of looks like, I don't know, what does this nitrate concentration look like relative to flow? We could change it to a regression and understand how nitrate changes with changing flow. Commonly, we'll see lower nitrate at high flows, and we kind of see that except for this big outlier up there. So gosh, that's interesting. We might want to go explore that data point, try and understand more about what's going on. But I'm going to click over here just briefly to total suspended solids. Gosh, yeah, we do expect sediment to be higher at high flows, and we indeed see that at the highest flows, the total suspended solids at this site are the highest. So the last thing that I will say here, so this is all, you can go explore all of this data and not just for the Gallatin, you can explore any of the sites that we've partnered with volunteer monitoring groups to get their data up. Now I've got, let's say I'm really compelled by this plot, whatever this plot might be. I'm going to come down here and click the Get Viewer URL. And I'll just show you, I'm going to pull up a notepad and I'm going to just paste what I just copied. And basically it's this complex URL that gives me all the information in the web browser to navigate back to that plot. So I'm gonna again copy that, and I can then come into, let's say, an email or a document I'm working in and say, hey, look at this data I found. I want to just want to show you. I'll select that, right click, grab the link, throw that URL in there. Now that person I send this message to clicks on that link and they pull up the exact data view that I was just looking at. So this is a way that you can easily share information on the view. If you go around, explore, find something interesting, you can save the view with that, again, get viewer URL. So the last thing that I will show you is that related to these get viewer URLs and the photos, you can come up here to what we've called story map tools. And in this, let's say I want all the sites for the Gallatin. I want to get all the data pop-ups. Let's say I want the default view to be, let's just say we're interested in, I don't know, nitrate, and let's get the photo views too. I'm going to generate the CSV, and then I'll come over to my downloads, and it downloaded the CSV. I'm going to open that in Excel and just show you quickly that this is now a list of all of those sites with the site names, descriptions, site IDs, and so on, a lat long, that will allow you to easily make a map in Google Maps or in any of the Esri products, Arc Online. And when somebody clicks on that point, this will be one of the fields that will take you to the data view. So this is a mechanism for people to click on the map and get straight to the photos that might exist for that site or the data for that site. So that's all I've got. Again, this is a data interaction tool, not a long-term repository. And it's not perfect. These plots aren't perfectly aesthetic or anything like that, but what it is it's by far the best thing we have to have be interactive with the data. And I think I'll stop there.
Great. Thank you so much, Adam. Before we get into kind of full discussion, does anybody have any clarifying questions for Adam?
That's really cool, Adam. That's all I have.
Ah, yeah, it was
Absolutely.
reminding me I haven't been in there for a while. Adam, I know you've got great resources on us getting there. Do you have any recommendations for folks here who maybe haven't done it before of a good place to start?
With exploring the data hub
Yeah.
or even just getting to it. Yeah, I'll drop a link in the chat to get to the data hub landing page. But I mean, if you just go and click on the Gallatin um, sites and bring them all up and then start playing around with that y-axis, I mean, there's nutrients have more data than some other things. Um, just this morning, I was like, gosh, it'd be nice. I was like, I'll go to the Sun River and show some sites there because we have Flow uploaded there. And I was like, actually, why don't I just take the time and upload that data this morning? And so there's if there's additional data that would make sense for us to put in, we can do that if you identify those things. I put data up for one DNRC gauge and one USGS gauge where the local water quality district has co-located water quality. We could also put the local water quality district's flow data up there for the sites they have it's been just a little while since we paid a lot of attention to the data curation for the Gallatin. So if people find things, and Cameron and Lily, if you find things that are missing, we can work on that.